tenure packet, I think really good. I didn't get to stay here for the rest of my career. I think everybody would be really happy. You guys hear me okay? Yeah. Awesome. So it's really cool to be speaking to you guys today. I'm thrilled to be here. I owe everything I have to public education in the state of West Virginia. It's a big deal for me to be talking about this, especially my position that kind of mixes higher ed, public ed, business, and tech, which I like to say I have the coolest job in the state because I get to work with students, I get to work with businesses, I get to work at my school, so it's all great. How many of you guys have heard of data analytics or big data or data science or machine learning or AI? Anybody? You guys heard of that stuff? You guys seen the Bob Dylan commercial from IBM where he's talking to the computer about what his music is about because you need to explain to Bob Dylan what his music is about? You guys ever seen that one? Or you seen the AWS Super Bowl commercials? You guys know what any of that stuff actually is besides a talking computer? So let's go ahead and talk about it. It's a hot field right now, but it all means the exact same thing. You'll hear it called data analytics, you'll hear it called data science, you'll hear it called business data analytics, you'll hear it called machine learning, you'll hear it called artificial intelligence or AI. But really what it is, it's how do you take data, how do you take math, how do you take technology and merge it to solve problems? All we're trying to do is think critically and solve problems, all right? I'm a PhD statistician, which means I'm the most boring person in this room by a long shot, okay? By a long shot, leaps and bounds. When Dr. Quartz asked me to speak, I kind of looked at her and said, are you sure about this? Like, what do I have to say? But really what I am is I'm a math geek and a tech nerd who likes to help businesses solve problems. That's what we do. That's what I am, and I'm trying to make a career out of that. And part of the reason I came back home to West Virginia was to try and make it happen here, because I had to leave 10 years ago because there weren't tech jobs here for me. There weren't things I could do here. I had to leave in 2009 because here's a phrase you hear a lot of people my age use. I loved West Virginia, but it didn't love me back. That's a hard thing for me to say because I love this state. I couldn't stay because we didn't have the infrastructure. Now that's starting to change, and I'm thrilled about that. We've got a lot of tech jobs starting to show up. We've got a lot of places for my students to work. I just had 5 students sign contracts at really, really good salaries, $75,000 plus, in state. West Virginia graduates of high school and college. That's something I'm extremely proud of. Happened the past 3 years. That's great. That's great. That's something I'm very proud of. But what we need to do is we need to start thinking about how to make that happen at scale, and that's part of the reason I came home. Now, my premise today is very, very simple. Public education is at its best when it's well-funded and it's supported by an economy that is booming. But the economy is at its best when public education is creating a well-educated workforce and a well-trained workforce. And the only way you can do that is through engagement between the two. It's a two-way flow. You have to have businesses who are willing to come into a classroom, like Jada just talked about. But you also have to have teachers who are willing to reach out. I want to describe to you a little bit what we've been working on at WVU and how we've kind of implemented this in the program I've been in. Because we're trying to blow up some norms that have occurred in higher ed. Because everybody thinks about higher ed as you just walk into a lecture hall, somebody walks up to a chalkboard, turns your back to you, and just starts writing, right? You think about your math class, you think about your statistics class, right? How many of you guys took a statistics class in college? How many of you guys actually like that class? We've got like 4 hands out of everyone's hand. To my students in the back, statistics classes have gotten better, don't hate them, okay? But here's the idea. Things have had to have changed. We can't do that anymore. We have to make these courses hands-on. We have to engage. But as important as this has gotten in business, we have to teach this stuff better. So how are we going to do it? We're going to engage with businesses at a level we've never seen before. So let me rewind about 3 years here and describe the process we've gone through and kind of the ideas we built this program on. So 3 years ago, almost to the day, my dad and I, by the way, happy Father's Day. That's Sunday. It's on TV now, so you can't say I didn't say it. But 3 years ago to the day, I came back to West Virginia and went to WVU, and I worked with some great people. I'm just going to name a few of them. My counterpart, Stefan Collignon, Janet Fraser, who joined us this year, Dr. Virginia Kleist, who's kind of been our fearless leader for a little while now, Jim Harner, who's been around doing this stuff at WVU for a little while. And there's so many support staff that I'll forget to name somebody. But when I say we today, that's the group I'm talking about. We started working a few years ago and started building this program from the ground up. And we built it on 2 core principles. One, we wanted to develop business leaders, the next generation of business leaders, who are critical thinkers and communicators with technology and data. Now, I'll get to why that's important here in a second. But the second thing is we wanted to create the most outward-facing and engaged program in the country. Not the region, not the state, not more central West Virginia, the country. We want to be nationally known for what we do in this area. That was day one. That was before we had a student enrolled. That's before we had anybody show up. Those are the two goals. Now, why do we want to develop the next generation of business leaders who are critical thinkers and communicators with data and technology? One, you see all these commercials about this field, right? You see IBM investing a ton of money. You see Amazon and Google and all these things coming. You think it's because businesses are investing money in this? Let me give you a stat. From 2012 to 2017, jobs that require communication with data daily increased 323%. 323%. Another way to say that is they tripled. Now, that means people who have to be able to talk with graphs and numbers and tables and data tripled. There's another thing, because we want to create critical thinkers, right? If I have to be able to communicate with it, what's that mean? My decision makers have to be able to understand it and make decisions based on that information, right? So one of our things is we have to now create decision makers who understand this stuff, can deal with this stuff, think with this stuff. It's not just, oh, well, this is what we've always done, so this is what we've always got. Numbers matter. There is a large investment happening in data and technology, and we have to be able to lead the way. The second thing, the most outward-facing and engaged program in the country. That's a lofty goal, especially when we didn't have anybody enrolled in the program, right? We just set a standard. It sounds unachievable. Big, hairy goals. That's what we do. If I was coming home, if I was leaving Miami, if I was living 400 yards from the ocean where I could kayak every day, yeah, you bet. We were going to set some big, hairy goals. We were coming back to change something. All right. What's that mean? That means we're going to work with anybody who wants to work with us. We're going to work with state agencies. We're going to work with mom and pop shops that are downtown. We're going to work with people who just want to understand what analytics is. We're going to take our students out into the community, out into the business world, and work with any industry that wants to work with us. We're going to take our students and create a workforce in West Virginia that it had not seen yet. That was the goal. 3 years later, it's worked a little bit. And it's still working. 30 graduates later, it's working. We're graduating 15 more in August, with another 30 coming in August. And that pipeline's just going to keep refilling. We've got 44 students at a minor that's going to keep refilling at an undergraduate level. We're doing some things different, and I want to describe how this works and why it works as an educational model for us, okay? As we're outward facing, as we partner with these businesses, what these businesses do is they invite us in from a classroom setting. And our classroom, what they do is they bring us in as almost consultants. I don't want to say we're truly consultants. They bring us in almost a consulting setting to say, hey, here's a project we want you to work on. Will you take this on? We meet with our students. We meet with these companies weekly. Have weekly phone calls, Skype sessions, whatever you want to do with them. And what they do is they say, solve our problem with our data. My students are the one leading this. I'm just sitting in the background. I let them take charge. I let them run the show. I serve as an advisor to them. They run everything. From the meetings to scheduling the calls, I just sit back and let them go. They come to me when they struggle. I sit there and I let them go through it. Why? Because in our industry, we fail as much as anybody. How many of you guys have ever programmed? Computer programmers. Anybody ever written any code in here? How many of you write perfect code the first time? If you are, you're better than me. Programmers fail as much as anybody. When we teach our students to program, they fail. We talk about in the West Virginia, the Ready Graduate profile there. We talk about fail, adapt, learn. Failure is not a big deal with people who program. You do it every day. So what? Get past it. Fix it. Move on. Something I learned from baseball growing up. My head baseball coach was sitting in the back. He taught me that when I was 12. Like, I just learned. So what? You struck out. Get over it. You grounded out. Get out. Get off. So it's the same concept, but what we're doing is we're teaching them that in a controlled environment. We're teaching them how to adapt on the fly in a meeting. We're teaching them how to move forward. That's what we have to do. But as we go and as we continue to work through these things, what we're doing is we're creating students who have experience. Here's why this matters in my field. You're hired for two reasons in any job: experience or potential. My field does not hire on potential. They don't care. Oh, great, you have a degree from a school. Awesome. Doesn't qualify you to do anything in my field. So of all possible graduates with these degrees, they only care about who has experience. So it narrows it down so much. So what do we have to do? While they're in school, we produce experience. What these projects do, they last 6 to 9 months at a time. These companies turn into references for our students. But the other thing is, we're showing these companies how much revenue it can actually generate for them. What can this do for companies? We've shown companies things about themselves that they didn't know. We've shown companies methods that have made them millions of dollars, saved them millions of dollars. You think they don't like our students a whole lot after that? You think there's not a job offer waiting on those students after that? You think maybe those jobs didn't exist in West Virginia before that? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we engage with these businesses, we show them a talent they didn't know existed, and show them the need for it, and show them how it can help their business and grow. What we're doing is introducing technology into businesses in this state that didn't know they had it. It's not just these big tech companies that can be successful from this stuff. Any organization that collects data at any level. In my experiences, I've worked with everything from NFL teams to pharmaceutical, to international banks, to just local supply shops who need to understand what they need to keep in stock to meet their customer needs. I have students who work in, I think I counted the other day, 15 of the 50 states. I have students in all time zones. I know we have a lot of law firms in here. How many of you guys have a business intelligence manager? How many of you guys have somebody who goes in and looks at all your cases? Laney Watkins out in LA just hired one of our graduates to run their entire data science platform. He can go through and search their entire caseload looking for exactly what they need. That's the investment. And what we're seeing is competition at every level for these type of jobs. And it just so happens, Forbes a couple days ago released the top entry-level positions. 3 of the top 5 jobs fell in this field. Data science, data engineer, data analyst. Salaries, all above $85,000 on average across the country. Now that's regionally adjusted and all those different things, and yeah, I'm a statistician, so I've got to put that asterisk on it. But what it is there are tech jobs out there. There are things that I didn't know existed when I left West Virginia. There are things that are evolving so fast. There are things that are happening beyond what we can even keep up with. One of the things it allows us to do working with these companies, tech changes every 6 months. As soon as you get something installed, they're releasing the next version, right? Think about when you buy a new computer. How long does it take you to update it? Like 3 hours, right? You plugged it in, they've already released a new computer by the time it's done. Same idea. By the time we get a new technology into our curriculum, there's a new one out there. So working with these companies allow us to stay on top of them. Because as things continue to evolve, so to piggyback on what Jada mentioned, and piggyback on what Jada talked about, businesses, we need you in classrooms, not just in K-12, but all over education, in community colleges, in higher ed, in K-12. We need you in the classrooms. But this is also for teachers. We need you to step outside of the classroom. We need you to engage with businesses as well, because they don't know how it fits your curriculum. They don't understand your expertise. They don't understand where it fits into the model. It's a two-way workflow. It's a two-way flow. It's not just one person talking to the other. It's a conversation that needs to occur at all times. How can they help you? Where do you see this fitting in? Learn what they do. That's what I have to do every day. Any industry I work in, I'm a statistician. I get to play in everybody else's sandbox. Anytime I walk into a bank, I have to learn what that bank does. When I worked with an NFL team, they do so many other things besides play football on Sundays that I have to learn everything about that business. So I have to make sure I understand what's happening in their organization. I don't claim expertise in areas I don't have it. So I defer to the expert. So we partner, we create a team. And that's what I would challenge you guys to do. Figure out how to combine expertise to create experiences for students that don't exist, to show them things beyond what they ever thought they could. I appreciate your all's time today. I appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you.